2002. Initially, Ferguson gave me a 2-year contract. I didn't actually think it would work because I'd taken the irreverent style of that type of writing into Celtic View. I thought, this is an in-house magazine, this is never going to work. But to be fair to the wee man, he did give me his word, nothing in writing, but he did give me his word that he wouldn't be stepping in to edit anything. So I did it for 2 years. I was just working part-time. I'd only get into the building on a Sunday to hand in what was then a floppy disk with your article on it. And I then got another 2-year contract, and then Alan McDonald had come into Celtic, and he'd asked me if I wanted to come in full-time, because he'd said that Celtic had done market research through Leicester University, and they were asking fans what they liked, from the Celtic View to the matchday programme, to buying Celtic Pools tickets, to eating Celtic pizzas and pies, and anything to do with Celtic. What were you interested in? The club were developing and trying to build up a base of how to earn income streams from fans. So he said to me that some of my stuff had been up there in the 75-80% of what people liked, and he says on the back of that research that we've asked the fans what they like, would you like to come in full time? And I did, and edited the letters page, because people always said that the directors were writing their own letters and they were editing them. And so he says, you're trusted with us, and the letters that come in, the internet was coming into force then, and a lot of letters came in via the internet, people saying things. And I remember back at that time, around about 2000, you'd be lucky if you got 3 or 4 physical letters, handwritten letters a week into the Celtic View. But most of the stuff was beginning to come through, and people were emailing in from Canada and America and all that kind of thing. I then created a spoof character called Nick McGuinness, and Nick was a right cheeky guy, and Nick McGuinness came from stealing your drink, Nick McGuinness. And young Nick, who was me, would be going to the press conferences at Celtic Park, and they'd be taking a really irreverent slant on some of the media guys, and Celtic thought this was quite a good idea, and I was the man to do it. So I did that for a while, and I also did my column in the Celtic View, which was sometimes 1 and 2 pages. The early days of the Celtic internet, we used to do a Wednesday interview, which wasn't Celtic TV, it was like Celtic radio, and although you couldn't be seen, this was going out every lunchtime on a Wednesday, and I was free to choose whoever I wanted as guests, and I had various people in, from Dixie Deans to Archie McPherson to Willie McStay, Andy Walker, and various other guys, and I would create the questions for that show, and I'd conduct the show myself. Unfortunately, the Celtic media room became polluted with major egos, and I found it very difficult to work there. There was, I don't know if it was jealousy on their part, but I had pretty much a free hand to do what I was doing. And I think if you're going to be a creative person and create things like Nick McGuinness page, and create a radio show which has got all around the world, people used to get back to you from Los Angeles saying they were listening to it, and it was great feedback. And I think you have to have a bit of a free hand, and I was never reckless with having a free hand. I knew where the white line was, as it were. But there were some major egos, and there's a couple of them still there today. I just found it suffocating. There were a couple of instances on stuff being edited out of my work, and stuff being edited not very nicely in the Celtic View letters pages, which I'm not going to go into at the minute, but I might at some time in the future. And I went to see the chief executive at the time, Ian McLeod, and I said, there's an incident happened here in the editing of various things in the club newspaper, the Celtic View, and I'd like to investigate it. I gave him all the evidence of who did it, and he kind of more or less says to me, don't worry about it, we'll get it sorted out, I would take a week off. And I said, I don't need a week off. I says, I find it very difficult to work in there with some of these people now, because this doesn't seem to be about what's best for Celtic. This seems to be about people's egos, people climbing on top of each other to get somewhere, and the Celtic product was coming second. So then eventually he says, come back in a couple of weeks and see how you feel. When he said come back in a couple of weeks, come back into my office, I wasn't out anywhere. Then I went back in a few weeks later, and I said, listen, I feel I've got to move out of here. I said, I think my time at Celtic's come to an end. I says, it's suffocating in the media room there, and there's certain dominant males there who I couldn't really be interested in ego fighting with them. I said I still feel I'm creative, and I still feel I'd like to create something else, and that's what I'm going to do. And from that I created a magazine called Alternative View, which was a section within the Celtic View. There was an Alternative View section within the Celtic View, and there was a bit to and fro, and I couldn't take the name with me, but I said, listen, I brought this name with me. I created this name, I brought it into Celtic, and I'm leaving and I'm taking it with me. And I left, and the main organiser for the Glasgow Union of Journalists, Mr. Holleran, had said to me later on, you should have cut yourself a deal, because I had a year left of my contract, and I basically left with the work that I had done there, and I didn't take anything else that I might have been due in my contract as part of a payoff. I just walked out of the building with a couple of weeks' notice, and I started up the magazine. And it's challenging, there's no doubt about it. It's challenging putting a magazine together. It's challenging times with the internet. There's lots of free stuff in the internet, but I still think there's a market there. In fact, I know there's a market there for, going by our sales figures, for people to buy a magazine, a hard copy being a physical magazine piece of paper. So I dare say that in the future, maybe in the not too distant future, we'll look at going online. And but I don't think there's a sea change for that quite at the minute yet. I think there's a lot of other big magazines and various other publications. You've got to look at them and see what they're doing. But, you know, for us to produce a magazine and to put the whole thing together is a considerable cost. The biggest bill is, of course, the printer and the people that make up the mag from, you know, sort of design point. And, you know, obviously the input is from various Celtic fans that work within it. So the magazine's going well. It's good. It's challenging because without Rangers being in the league at the minute, there has definitely been a drop of interest in not in the magazine but in everything surrounding Celtic. It's difficult for Celtic to sell season tickets at the minute. It's difficult to get a good turnout at games, and it's difficult to get a real good atmosphere going in the ground if it's not the guys in the Green Brigade singing. People are coming along with apathy. There's not a lot of expectation. A quick example would be a few months ago when we lost a couple of last minute goals up at Tannadice. We were 2-0 up and Dundee United made it 2 each. You'd have been mad, you'd have been raging at that in the past, and you'd been looking at who Rangers were playing the next week to see if you could catch that up, if they were in danger of dropping a couple of points. But that's not there now, and I think some of the displays on the pitch this season have reflected that. And what used to be, you know, maybe an occasional thing has now become the norm. You know, we're 1 up after 15 seconds against Aberdeen, and we're 3-1 down. Second half to come back, spectacularly win 4-3. And we're 2 up at Ross County and we lost 3-2. And then we're 1 up after a few minutes in the last game there at St Mirren Park. And, you know, okay, there was mitigating circumstances there. It definitely wasn't a red card, and it definitely wasn't a penalty kick. Contact was no contact, and any what may have looked like a challenge, which wasn't actually a contactable challenge, was outside the box. So there were mitigating circumstances there, but I think Celtic had it in their locker to actually put that game away before Bunyama was sent off and before the penalty incident. And I certainly think we'd enough in our locker not to lose a goal even with 10 men. So, you know, there's going to have to be an upsurge of spirit from the team and from the support, I think, in the coming months. And it's a big challenge for all the Celtic fans. Let's hope we do it.
Right, your penultimate song?
My penultimate song is Steve Harley. I worked down in London when I was round about, I went down there, I was about 19. I finished my apprenticeship here, went down there, and was bumming about London for a couple of years, and Steve Harley was out at the time with this absolute classic song. And I think a lot of younger people probably won't know who Steve Harley is, but he is the man who led a band called Cockney Rebel, and this song is absolutely brilliant.
You've done it all. You've broken every code. Hauled the rebel to the floor. You spoiled the game, no matter what you say. For only metal, whatever. nothing left. All gone and run away. Maybe you'll tarry for a while. It's just a test, a game for us to play. Win or lose, it's hard to smile. Resist, resist. It's true yourself, you have to hide. Oh, come up and see me to make me smile. I'll do what you want, run away wild. There ain't no more. You've taken everything. My belief in Mother Earth. Can you ignore my faith in everything? 'Cause I know what faith is and what it's worth. Away, away. And don't say, maybe you'll try to come up and see me, to make me smile. I'll do what you want, just run wild.
Right, that was What the Rebel and Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile. Where have I heard that before? I think I know that wee tune. Anyway, before we go and hear your last song, I would like to give you the complete works of the Dandy and a copy of the Bible to take with you to your island. Would you like a copy of the Bible?
Is it between the two?
No, you can get it both.
I can get the both. Can I get an extra luxury item if I don't take the other book?
No, a wee bit of bartering going on here.
Could be.
Aye. Well, right, I'll give you two luxury items.
I think I would need a toothbrush,
Right.
because I think when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you want to do is clean your teeth, because I think it makes you feel clean. Apart from it makes you feel mentally clean. So I think I'd need a toothbrush, but then I'd have a problem because I wouldn't have any toothpaste. So I'm afraid the salty water would have to be used that was lapping my feet each day to be used as toothpaste. So that'd be one luxury item. I think I would need a knife, because to survive in a desert island you would have to hunt, and you'd have to go up trees and get melons and things, and you'd need a knife to cut it open, and coconuts, and you could cut wood with a knife and maybe even start a fire. And start's been an important word here for something that's coming up. But I think you need a knife because you can do various things with a knife for survival techniques. So that would be my two luxury items, yeah. And the book I would take would be the Bible. I'm not a great reader of the Bible. I read passages from it and I've never read it right through.
Mm-hmm.
But I think whoever put that together is pretty clever. And I dare say it's been updated and added to along the way. But I would take the Bible because I think your spirits could drop quite a lot if you're isolated and you're lonely.
Yeah.
And you're waving at ships that are constantly passing 5 miles away and they don't see you. So one minute you'd be happy, next minute you'd be dead sad. So I think the Bible, there'd be passages in the Bible which could lift your spirits and which are quite prolific and quite something you could believe in and take on board.
What book would you take that you're reading just now? Or?